This is Trip. They said they needed somebody whose mic demeanor matches how the D-League get it hype inside that ice arena. For live action analysis and highlights, you need to let your host on the mic, Mr. Reichert, be the light to lead you through life between the pipes. Incite like an encyclopedia. Look inside yourself, find the fight to compete in you. Get in while you can, the numbers doubling fast. Asses in the seats and snot bubbles on the glass. Sign your name on the line for your spot and lock it up. This is hockey. We'll see who talking tough when they drop the puck. Try to keep your teeth and knock it up. Sorry about your luck. You should probably go sit down somewhere safe and get doctored up. Turn it up loud, let it knock in your truck. Or in the office, sound waves ripple through coffee cups. Come on. Log on, lock it in, and lock it up. It's DLeagueRadio.com, let's talk it up. Log on, lock it in, and lock it up. It's DLeagueRadio.com, let's talk it up. Lace your skates up or sit back reading the tea leaves. You are now tuned into the D-League. If you ain't bumping this in your ride, you need a DD. You are now tuned into the D-League. Leave the TV, come and see it in 3D. You are now tuned into the D-League. It's the best podcast in the biz, better believe me. You are now tuned into the D-League.
And welcome. It's a great day for hockey here in Urbandale, Iowa, as we get set to kick off the CIDL playoffs. My name's Eric Zamora. Alongside me, Tyler Shelton. Before we get too far, I want to announce behind the camera, JT Nutt and Brett DeBryan, our engineer and producer for this evening. The two teams come in as the 1 and 4 seeds in a 4-team division, the novice division. The number 1 seed, Bandits, 14-4-3. The Knights 1-17-3. Those stats at this point mean nothing to anybody but stat geeks. I mean, that includes you and I.
Absolutely.
But at this point of the season, it's the postseason. All that matters is 20 minutes up on the clock, zeros on the board.
Absolutely. I mean, these teams come into it, like you said, with a fairly disparaging record. However, as you very well said, it doesn't matter. Everything starts over at zeros. We have 60 minutes of hockey to prove who gets to move forward here. Bandits and Knights, where it looks like we're getting set up here at center ice here, Eric. What are you expecting to see today?
I expect to see the Knights come out with a lot of purpose. I know that they've obviously not had their season go the way they wanted to this point. A good showing tonight erases all of that as we take the opening faceoff, and that is one back for the Knights. They'll play it to the left side, and it's McIntosh handling it from there. He's pressured, and it's played back into the offensive zone for the Bandits, who give chase. They'll wrap it around the boards, and handling it there is Lee Collins. Collins stripped of it by Weimer, who gives chase, and he'll head after it as on the Knights. Keep an eye on number 23, the leading scorer for the Knights. Also leads the team in goals, tied for lead in assists, and certainly is one of the leaders in pressure, as he is all 100% effort all the time. This is chipped all the way down for Fry, and he'll just swat that into the corner. From there, it's handled by McIntosh, and Jason McIntosh wraps it around the boards. That was brought back in by a long reach of Sean Roskilly, who comes away with it in the corner, tries a centering pass. The Knights will play it all the way down the length of the ice, and a minute into action, we've got an icing, bringing it back down into the Knights' defensive end.
I think something to start off with here is to keep your eye on Weimer. The way he was protecting the puck right there at center ice, dancing around it, keeping his body in between the puck and the attacker, or the defender in this particular case, was very well executed, making sure he can keep control of the puck. When he tried chipping in the zone, the defender just happened to get it from him. But great positioning already from Jason.
To the right side of Fry, the netminder. A shot from the point by Houston. She winds up and gets it into the slot, in between the circles. From there, Bandits unable to get a shot on target. It's wrapped around back to Houston. She'll dish things up as she sends it towards Mayhem, and Rasevsky will come away with for the Knights. Tries a pass ahead. It's partially broken up by Forbes, and the Bandits battling at center ice. Coming away with it is Hall. Hall puts a little stutter step, then gets some room. Tries the centering pass, defended well, that'll go behind the net. Hall's second effort, plays it around for Rasevsky, and she's finding herself with some space and time, at least for the moment, and just as I say that, she's closed in on. Here's Etnier at center ice, and a little bit of pressure, and that will be a charging Fortner. Fires a shot, big save by Fry. Kept in the zone for a moment, and now off the other way. In with speed, looking for an outlet is Hull from the left circle. Great pass across, just unable to connect, but the Knights had a great scoring opportunity there. And going back a moment ago, Fortner for the Bandits, and the difference in his speed from the beginning of the season to now is night and day. He would not have been able to make that play in September. Quick shot, and it's in! The Knights get on the board first. It's Hull slamming home what looked like an innocent enough opportunity. About 2 minutes, 53 seconds into the game, Bandits weren't even all out on the ice yet. We still had a player waiting to get in from the locker room, and the Knights draw first blood. They're on top 1-0.
I think that ended up being a rebound that just couldn't be controlled there and just hopped right over the pad. There was a whole lot of pressure there from the Knights. The Bandits were just trying to get control of it to get it out of the zone and couldn't quite do so. It looks like they were playing on their heels. It kind of collapsed and weren't looking for a pass, just trying to chip it out, and unfortunately had to pay for it right away.
Quick shot on. Fry will handle it with the blocker, and I like what he did there as he kind of had a backup plan or two, as he had everything there in position lined up like Rockettes. Here's a shot, and he's able to hold on to that one from the post. And again, he's putting everything out in front of him. There he made the save with the blocker, but it looked like he had the stick there as a backup plan and then had the leg pad down as well. So he's able to withstand some resistance. You can imagine right now that head coach Pete Van Houweling of the Bandits is none too happy about the way this game has started. I expect the Bandits to be dialing up pressure sooner rather than later.
I would agree. I think that there's been some pretty good passing when they're in the offensive zone. Luke Vance did a fantastic job keeping the puck in the zone just a moment ago, and doing a great job chipping it forward here, just a little bit outside the reach of his forward he was trying to get it to. But the pressure's quickly down into the near side corner with Captain Rich Harms trying to get it out. And the Knights trying to take away the pressure there, but end up fumbling it and chipping it back deep into their own zone.
Lopez with a ton of speed, but unable to get possession. And how about that for Bradley Hall? Picks up his first goal for the Knights now. That sounds a little bit harsher than it is, as he's actually only playing in his 6th game in the CIDL, but you couldn't ask for a better time to pick up your first point here in the season.
Well, absolutely. And to your point earlier, everything resets. That's just his first playoff goal.
Hepperly with the primary assist, Rasevsky with the secondary assist, and the Knights trying to build on that. Here's a handoff, clean at the line, and then they'll try to get it right back, as it was a little bit of a give and go. Steinbrunn trying to connect there. Harms awaiting in the slot, but instead it'll be played all the way down the length of the ice, and the Knights following things up well here. They had a couple of tests with their goaltender. Fry stood tall, or I should say stacked the pads tall, and then they're seeing something that they probably haven't seen too often out of the Bandits, and it's a team that's having an issue right now getting and maintaining offensive zone pressure.
I'm wondering if the Bandits kind of thought they were going to have this one in hand. Just weighing the records between the two of these teams have played each other several times, and it's gone one way most of the time. So they're going to have to make an adjustment here.
And it's almost entirely gone one way. The Knights 0-5-1 against the Bandits, although I should point out they played in the last game of the regular season, and it was a nail-biter. The Knights had a lead and ended up falling by a narrow 3-2 score. Not that this team in black needed much of a reason to draw up some inspiration, but they felt like they were right on the cusp there, and so certainly that's just going to build on their confidence. I know that they've been putting a lot of time in getting in prep for this game outside of the regular Sunday practice times and games. And at least early on, 13:30 to go, a lot of time left in period number 1. But it's paying off, and I don't just mean by the goal. They just look like, they certainly don't look like a team that's looking to double their win total just by winning tonight.
So far, they look like they're playing as a unit. They're doing really well getting back in positions. They're passing very cleanly, and they're collapsing on the puck at the right time, not everybody crowding to it as soon as it's anywhere loose in the middle.
Mavridis with time, and does a nice job there of, instead of forcing it, feeds it over, and Etnier has to quickly get there. It's not out just yet, but there's some back checking in the Knights. Nick Reynolds, one of the leaders of this team. Backhand pass, and actually kicks off the skate of Mavridis, looking for a centering pass, and unable to get one there was Hunter Lee. He heads towards the front of the net. Sent over for Lee, and a nice stick lift there, as that was Etnier showing his veteran savvy, thrown towards the net but off the mark. It's now to the other side. A quick backhand by Fortney to get it out of harm's way. Sent back in. And lifted ahead just enough to get it going, and now we've got a potential odd man rush. In from the right side with speed. Knights looking to set the table. Shot partially blocked, and they'll go around the cage, and honestly, that's never a bad play. That's thrown back towards the net. It was Reynolds trying to get something off. Too many times, at all levels really, you'll see players force things. They want to always keep it in front of the net. Puck behind goal line is nightmares and headaches for a goaltender. They know they've got to be up against one post, sometimes with the wrong side, and you never, as a goaltender, want to constantly be looking over your shoulder. So if you don't have anything, it's never a terrible idea to set up behind there, try to find something. That's what the Knights did. They weren't able to come up with anything successful, but they were able to still get a good look.
And Reynolds, the puck carrier there, did a great job knowing that he wasn't going to get a lot of pressure coming around behind the net. Took his time and tried sending it to the slot area where he had two other Knights players waiting to receive that puck. So great job out of him, keeping calm, taking a second, looking around before just getting rid of that puck.
And I think that too, a mistake you'll see at all levels of adult hockey is once you get into the zone, then people want to play it back towards the point, or you're behind the goal line out front. You got to be 100% there. You can't be playing the puck, even though it's in the offensive end, towards your goal unless you're 100% sure that's not going to get picked off. Otherwise, it's a breakout pass the other way.
Exactly.
Here's Rasevsky. She'll slam on the brakes, and a nice job there holding at the line. Fed, and a quick shot off target, but Ryan Lett, he's got 5 in the season and was looking to collect and distribute there. This is back for McIntosh. McIntosh pressured by Fortner, and at the red line. It'll pinball around for a moment. Weimer stepping back, and now he'll jump back up into the play. No, he'll wait as this is played right to where he was. Weimer, the leading scorer, as he feeds it up for Hall, but going to play a little bit more of a defensive role this evening. And a second effort. It's going to take a third, and finally it's stolen away by the Bandits. They'll come in, but Weimer with plenty of time to get back in position and start to camp out front. Gives that one a solid tap. That'll get it to the line, not out. Held in nicely by Vance. Vance, the captain of the Bandits. Wrapped around and now throwing it up and just over the line, and now we've got an opportunity. Here's Weimer trying to get it ahead. He had Hall with him. Takes a stumble and takes a little bit of roll of the dice there, but I like the aggressive play out of the blue liner. If he can capitalize there or even get a good looking shot, again, it's one of those where you've got the speed to recover, and he was back into where he needed to be defensively in plenty of time. Quick shot, and getting down and getting low was the netminder. Fry comes up with a big stop on Dan Jones. Jones had a huge goal a few weeks ago as they were playing the Wild Goose, a goal that came with no time left, and it ended up being the difference between the Bandits being the 1 seed and the 2 seed. Across the line is Lett. Lett fires. Again, he's got some velocity, but it ends up off the mark. Bandits just fortunate there to look to get out of the zone, and it looks like they'll reset with some fresh players.
That's the second time Lett's tossed the puck at the far post, and the goaltender hasn't quite gotten over. Harris hasn't quite gotten over as fast as you would think. I think Lett's doing that on purpose. He's leaving that right side post open a little bit, thinking that puck's going to come over. That's twice Lett was maybe a foot wide of basically a halfway open net.
And there's certainly an argument to be made for a goaltender if they know it's going to be wide, but as you pointed out, it was off target, especially that second one. It wasn't close enough where, I mean, that's kind of one of those, if you're a baseball fan, you'd attribute it to that being that might have been a ball, but with 2 strikes, that was too close to watch.
Exactly.
Backhanded effort, that'll get it out of the zone for the Bandits, and at this point, they'll take that, as they've not been able to dial up too much offensive pressure, though defensively they've been pretty solid. The Knights really haven't had a lot of quality scoring chances. The difference is the best scoring opportunity for either side has found the back of the net. Now up with speed, it's Lopez. Don't even need to see the number, as he's coming with a ton of speed in that unique style. Backhand effort towards the net, and it hits off of the netminder, then off the post. It's still there loose for a moment, and the Bandits can't slam it home. Held in by Houston, and what a break for the Knights, as not only could that one have easily gone in the first time, but then it was just sitting there, and nobody wearing beige anywhere near to try to just reach out and poke that home. That had a Tyler Shelton goal written all over it.
Absolutely it did. And Mavardis, I don't know if I'm saying his last name correctly, but he was there. He saw the puck just sitting there on the red line. Great heads-up play out of him to reach in there carefully, take his time to drag it out and not accidentally bump it in. Fantastic job from the goaltender, not moving once he realized he didn't have it, and from his teammate, getting that out for him there. So we didn't have a garbage time goal.
Well, and you're looking at, too, again, the biggest thing there is that you got to act quickly, but at the same time, you've got to act meticulously. And you're right. That's a situation where if you panic, you're scoring a goal on your own netminder.
Yeah.
And they were able to fish that one out and come away with a big offensive zone faceoff with 6.5 minutes to play in period number 1.
On the other side of that, the Bandits did a great job being quiet. As soon as they noticed that puck was still loose, you didn't hear anybody yelling loose. You just saw everybody run into the net. Fantastic job out of them, realizing that that's not the time to announce that puck's still loose.
And that one just comes over the line. It's brought back in, and the offsides party is aware of that, so he'll go ahead and back off. This will be shot all the way down in, and a loose puck left there by Fry. It's Mavridis trying to feed it up the line, held in by Roskilly. He's got a big shot. It's wide of the mark, and then Fry snatches it out of midair and tosses it over for the officials. 5:42 left to go in the first period, and although the shot was off target, you're looking at arguably the heaviest shot in the league in Sean Roskilly.
Absolutely, and that sets a statement, too. He's flinging that puck up. That puck had zero chance of making it in the net, but it's letting the goaltender know, hey, I am here, and I'm going to throw this puck that way. You better be ready.
And that's quickly in on Fry, and he quickly covers up. We'll go ahead and keep an eye on how he plays, but one of the things I've noticed about Roskilly is that for a forward, he plays back quite a bit. In fact, he almost kind of fits into instead of, it's loose, and again, and this time a whistle is blown as one of the officials lost sight of it. Fortunately, no controversy, as right after that whistle was blown, it didn't go in. It would have been swept over to the corner, but the Bandits now starting to dial up some pressure. But again, a draw for Roskilly, the center. And as the point I was trying to make a moment ago is Jones holds this in, thrown towards the net, and Knights try to get a clearance. Still don't have one. Roskilly fires and scores! I'm not sure if it was tipped or not.
I don't believe so. I think it just came off the post and off of Fry's skate and in. That if Fry had been either a couple inches one way or the other, I don't think that would have bounced in. It caught the post just right, came out, hit the skate, and back in. And that is a huge sigh of relief for the Bandits. After the last shot, they got swept away to the corner there. You could see Vance and Jones, where the blue liners there, had their heads up, looking at the ceiling, going, we can't buy a goal. And then that fantastic shot from Roskilly puts them on the board.
And Roskilly, again, the leading goal scorer for his squad, plays a little bit further back, and I think part of the reason is it's almost like instead of having 3 forwards and 2 defensemen, it's almost like they're playing a 2-1-2, and the Knights respond with a big shot with some velocity on it. Bandits weather the storm. Weimer will collect it just as it gets outside the blue line. But getting back to that, there's a lot of players in this league that are going to have a hard time scoring from any further than, let's say, about the halfway point of the circle. Roskilly's not that guy. He can score from just inside, heck, even outside the blue line, and because of that, it allows him to really set up better defensively. Here's a loose puck, a quick shot, and then a nice cover up as the Knights respond immediately with a good scoring opportunity, and Harris shows why statistically probably the best goaltender in this league. He comes up with a big stop sliding over to his left.
Houston was doing a fantastic job down below the goal line, getting that puck up and at least back up to the blue line, trying to do her best to keep it out of the zone and staying in position while doing it. The Bandits are doing a lot better now, getting back into position, taking a second and looking up before they throw the pass. I'm looking to start see them gaining momentum from that goal.
A shot from the point and skips over. I agreed with your assessment live. I think that was a clean shot by Roskilly off the post, and then, like you said, out. But it took a bad break for the Knights off of Fry's skate and in. Not anything you can do. It's almost one of those where if he'd been out of position, it would have been better. But that's the breaks for the Knights so far in this one. But Roskilly picks up, as we've got an icing here, bringing it back into Knights territory, his 14th goal and 18th point of the season, and he is one of 2 players on the Bandits, along with Don Pappian, that did not miss a regular season game. 21 for 21, perfect attendance.
That's with this being an adult hockey league with other things going on, that is a fantastic accomplishment. Congratulations to everybody who's pulled that off this season.
Well, and how about this? There's 4 of them on the Knights. McIntosh, Harms, Reynolds, and Steinbronn, and I've seen all of them out there, so we'll make it 22 of 22. Wrapped around the boards and over for Lopez. Lopez will be pressured, but uses the wall beautifully. A bounce pass, and now over for Hoffman. He's got 1 to get around. Hoffman waits, fires, and that actually kicks off the side of the cage. So it sounds a little bit more exciting for the fans who might not have a great view behind the benches. But that one was definitely going wide and then hit off the side. And Fry immediately gets himself set as he's hugging that left post, anticipating what might come out of this scrum. It was Lopez and Hoffman who got tangled up. They'll send it around to the left side. Vance steps up, nearly stolen away by Hall, and it creates a turnover. Now with it, the Knights bring it in. Hall waits at the line as it's Cornish. Cornish gets slowed down. Second effort, steals it right back. Now it's played back and over. Mavridis throws it on net. Hall was there waiting for a rebound. That would not be. Harris holds on in the final minute of play and will take a face-off to his right in a matter of moments.
That shot from Hoffman was about as good as you can get. He had to take a step up. That puck was going to be just a little bit behind him for his speed. If he didn't have to slow up that little bit to corral it, he would have had a lot better chance. That was a beautiful shot, and for something he was scrambling to try to get a hold of. Just a little bit too late, it came off the side of the cage.
I mentioned the Knights lately have been getting out on the ice every time they can. Looks like the Bandits have been hitting physics class. As first it was Lopez making the nice pass up and off the dasher. Then a great bank pass ahead to Hoffman. You got to use everything you can here in the playoffs. And with about 5 seconds left to go, as the whistle sounded, wouldn't get another play in, and we'll come to an end of period number 1 with the score dead even. Bradley Hall, his first of the season from Chad Hepperly and Rachel Rasevsky at 2:48 of the first period, equalized by Sean Roskilly, his 14th of the season from Lee Collins and Dan Jones, 15:23 into the first, and we've got ourselves a deadlocked game going into period number 2.
So from where I'm standing, and tell me what you're thinking here, Eric, the first half of that period, for the most part, the Knights were absolutely driving. They were executing passing cleanly. They were playing a great defensive and positional game. And then you could just see the Bandits get frustrated. I mean, there was players looking at the ceiling wondering what was going on. And then they just started throwing things at the net, passing off the boards, executing their game. And I would say the back half of that was a little more closer to even, maybe even a little more Bandits.
In theory, yeah, I think that's a pretty good way of describing it. I don't know, though, that I'd go as much frustration as I think a little bit of surprise, like we talked about. It's playoff hockey. Everybody knows that they're going to get their opponent's best shot. But I think that the Bandits are just not used to seeing this squad led by John Reichert on the bench as well organized and playing as a unit as well as they have been so far. So I don't think that they came in here expecting, they're just going to roll over. They're going to look at the standings and they're going to look at the records and say, well, this just isn't going to be our day. But I think the Bandits have to go, man, we haven't played a terrible game, and yet we're still in a dogfight. And I think that's how it's going to be, regardless of, we already know the matchup of the next game, Blues and Wild Goose, and then the championship, regardless of who advances. I think these are going to be 3 games that we're going to see that are all going to be really tight. We want to mention the Keg Stand, the primary sponsor of D-League Radio, now in its 3rd year of being the primary sponsor of D-League Radio. 3530 Westtown Parkway in West Des Moines. Over 90 beers on tap with new tappings every week. Complete listing of the beers they feature on a beer menu and beer board. Full menu with some of the best food in town. Food specials all day, Monday through Friday. Open till 2 a.m. 7 days a week. Great place to hang with friends, catch the big game on one of over 15 big screen TVs. And speaking of the big game, we'll certainly not ruin anything for you if you're catching this live and then trying to go ahead and watch the Washington-Las Vegas game afterwards. The official sponsor of the CIDL, official home of the new CIDL, and as always, the home of D-League Radio is the Keg Stand. So we switch ends, and now the Knights in their black uniforms, silver numerals, and purple trim going from left to right as we see it being shot by JT Nutt, and as we see it up at the top of Section 9 here at Buccaneer Arena. And the Bandits, we were debating about this earlier, but we're going to call that beige with
it's like green
numerals and a little bit of orange trim.
Yeah.
Something for everybody there.
Yeah.
Jones.
Very Dallas Stars feel at the bottom there.
Jones curls around, slaloms through the right circle, and then it's going to be Weimer heading off, and Weimer's got a half head of steam. I was going to say full, but had to hold up for a moment. Tries to feed that puck over, and a nice job there by Vance of making sure that never found the crease. Wrapped around, it'll be Harms racing for it. Harms beaten to the puck by Vance. That forces a turnover, and that is a shot off the mark as looking to tee one up there. And unable to was Steinbraun. And Fortner sends that over. Trying to reach ahead and break that up was McIntosh. Sharp angle shot that looked like it took a deflection and started rising. That one goes out of play, and we'll have a stoppage here just 2 minutes into period number 2. You know what's interesting with these two teams is obviously they've played each other so many times throughout the years. I mean, we're not counting the times that they've shared the same ice as practice, but 6 games already. This is 7. Sometimes in adult hockey, you see teams, and you don't see them very often, there's a little bit of timidness in the first few minutes of a period. There's more of a, who are these guys again? Where are we? Out. Yeah, what numbers are we looking out for? These guys are well aware of what they have been doing, what they've been trying to do all season. And I really didn't expect, especially on the Bandit side, but I really didn't expect the Knights to change up anything. I think it's more of a, look, this is what we've been doing. Now let's just perfect it. Let's just tighten up those screws. And so far, you're seeing a pretty clean game out of the 4 seed.
I would absolutely agree. And I think the extra practices from the games that I've called and seen both these teams over the course of the season, the Knights have definitely tightened up, to use your verbiage, a lot.
Brought in, and a quick move by Reynolds. Got it onto the forehand. He's not far behind Weimer on the both goals and points, as he's looking at 8-4 for 12 to Weimer's 9-4 for 13 into the offensive zone for the Bandits, but they're not able to get there in time. And that is Mavridis, who is able to quickly exit the zone. Right back in Etnier. Tries to send it up the boards. Held in. That one pinballs and caroms really hard around a couple of players' sticks. Sent in, but offside. So a touch-up for the Bandits. And that gives an opportunity for the Knights as they try to exit the zone. Lopez, a strong forecheck. Fires a shot. And that one just kicked off the outside. And from here, couldn't tell if Fry got down and got a piece of it or not, but I don't think so, just because of the sound coming off. That sounded like that hit flush.
I would agree. It sounded like that hit the edge of the post there at the base, and that's just where it ended up at.
But if Fry is anything like me, he'd take credit and say, well, all I gave him there was the outside of the post. This is sent back all the way down, and we've got an icing that'll bring it back to the north end of action. 15:32 left to go in period number 2. And So Cherry Screen Printing and Sewing is your short-run garment decorating specialist. Custom jerseys or uniforms for any sport, original art screen printing for any occasion, company functions, school outings, family fun events, and much, much more. No minimum order. That's my favorite part. You can order 1, you can order 50. A multitude of garment decorating options, whether it's screen printing, embroidery, and options to fit any budget. The official outfitter of the CIDL. Check them out on the web at socherry.com, and you can like them on Facebook.
Not just can, should.
Well, and both of us are not just trying to think of the old hair product, but we're customers. We're in the trenches with them.
I'm wearing a So Cherry jersey right now, Eric.
You are, and I would be too if it weren't for the fact that I heard that there was a dress code.
I was not told that. I am wearing my hockey best.
Whips also underdressed me last time I did a broadcast, but that's all right. Back into the zone for the Knights. Hall gives chase. Vance plays it up the line, and for all that effort, unable to come up with it. Roskilly with a breakout pass to the right side, and it's sent towards the net by Lee and held onto by the goaltender. Fry comes up with it, as we'll take a draw to his blocker side on his right, and not a bad crowd for a Wednesday night up in the lounge overlooking. I got a feeling that more than a few of those are some interested party members trying to figure out if they're able to come up with a victory in tomorrow's game. And that was a bouncing puck, and the netminder coming up with it. Fry dives over, and that looked more like a tight end trying to catch one just before it hit blades of grass. But Fry tested with a little bit of back English spin on that. And still able to come up with it.
He had to be sharp there with that weird bounce there. The puck was spinning, bounced at least once on its way there. Had to make sure he was diving forward to cover that zone while it was still open.
And again, he has to hit the ice as Roskilly teed one up that went in the crease and out just as quickly. Knights able to get it out of the zone. You know, a lot of times people will point out goaltenders and say, oh, the best save was that big glove, or, you know, the kick save. But if you're talking about the best saves you'll see goaltenders, more often than not, it's something odd like that. It's something where, you know, they're fighting something off with their elbow, or they have to at the last minute slide and knock it over with their mask. I mean, it's those unusual, quirky shots that really cause fits. And at all levels of hockey, there's no such thing as a bad shot on goal, and I'll go even one more than that. Just get the puck to the crease, and from there, good things are going to happen.
Agree. And to add to your list of things there, a second rebound, because you've committed to wherever you're going to be, and getting back across in front of the net you're probably not all the way in front of anymore. Going to be difficult.
They'll fish that ahead. Waiting is Steinbronn, and nice job there by Houston, making sure that was off target. From the other side, a rebound attempt, trying to bang that home, was Cornish. He sets the table for Harms, who tried to throw it out front. Gathered. And Steinbronn had Harms at the back door, but almost no angle to get to him as the goaltender cut that off. And here comes Fortner coming in. Fry will win the race and throws it over to the left side. Knights looking to get out of their own zone. Sent up. Jones flips it, and that takes a kick off of the skate of Etnier. And with the netminder diving over to his right, he had to try to do everything he could to mentally push that one wide. We've got a spill and clean at the line. Cutting in, waiting, firing, and a glove save! What a stop by Harris, as he was, for a moment, without one of his defensemen. I believe that was Houston, who just got caught up in her own skates, and then a big stop. And I can't think of a save that's been more impressive so far. Not just to make sure that didn't go in the net, no rebound given up, and with 10:45 left to go in period number 2, we remain in a deadlocked game.
Two things about that. One, as soon as Houston went down, she was scrambling up and trying to cut off the next available pass in the rebound, not worried about where she should have been, trying to get to where she needed to be now. Two, that save was even more impressive because it came off of his leg pad first and then up into his glove. Great positioning if you're having the glove right above the pad to make sure that didn't hop over and in the back of the net.
We talked about it with Fry earlier in the contest there. Harris doing that. You know, it's not always going to be the first piece of equipment that you're trying to stop it with, so that's why you've got to have a backup plan, and both of them coming into play there as the Knights come away with this one. Fortney throws it towards the net. They try to hold it in, unable to, and now Hoffman will apply some pressure. It's McIntosh with Bandits on either side of him. Sent back off, kicked off by Lopez. And now Weimer backhand over for McIntosh. He's able to calmly push that ahead right off of the dasher at the bench of the Bandits. McIntosh centering, and getting a piece of that was Reynolds. Spun around to the play. Hoffman tries to get there in time, and Vance will be pressured immediately, and that's the thing about the Knights in this contest they've been really good about is you always say you want to be the first one to the puck, as this one is played, but a little bit too long for Hoffman, and it takes a Bandits roll. Oh, I thought it was going to stop just before Hoffman could touch it. It does go over the line for an icing. But you always say you want to be, in any sport, you want to be the first to the ball, you want to be the first to the puck. And there have been a number of times where the Knights have looked at the situation and gone, I'm going to be the second one there, but I'm going to get there as quickly as I can, and I'm just going to cause havoc. I'm going to make it where, yep, he's going to get a shot, but he's going to have to go through me or around me, or I'm going to be poking at him, or I'm going to put my, sometimes the best move is put your stick in the path of where their stick's going to be. They might still get the shot off, but they're not going to get a clean one, and that's been their gameplay. Here's a great breakout pass ahead for Lopez. Lopez loses the angle, hits off the side of the cage. Fry got down and saw that Lopez was way far wide and realized all I've got to do is make sure there's nothing between me and the post. He's going to have almost an impossible time trying to go far side. So a nice breakout pass, and in that situation, for a moment, I think Lopez's speed almost worked against him a little bit. That first step was a big one, and if he was a little bit slower, might have been able to get a better angle. Here's Hoffman racing to one. That one skims just through the crease and out the other side. Bandits, first one to it. They offer one up on the backhand, around for Hoffman, but it just gets away from him. The Knights will clear it to the red line. 7:45 to go in a 1-1 game. Again, Hall for the Knights, Roskilly for the Bandits, your goal scorers. And held just in as that one was dancing on the blue paint. It's Roskilly looking to set the table. He'll move it all the way over for Lee. Lee from behind the goal line tries the centering pass. Broken up. And a nice chip ahead. You don't want to get too much on that. Vance is there to defend the blue line and more. He gets it to center ice before dumping it in. Fry has a player from the other side. Didn't get the communication, and Hall is there as that's one area the Knights have got to get better at. Is it was Fry going to play a puck and had no idea that a Bandit was hot on his tail, and a long outlet pass by Etnier. However, it's going to go on target, so Harris has no option but to play it into the corner. Cornish wins the race, hands off for Hall. Hall fires and just misses as the netminder was set perfectly and really made him say, if you're going to score here, you're going to have to pick a corner, and Hall just off the mark.
One of the things I've been noticing here lately is the captain of the Bandits, Luke Vance, has been all over the place, doing a fantastic job pressuring the Knights when they're carried into the zone, keeping it into the offensive zone form, and has been doing so very, very well. Great stick checks and some super clean passing there.
Vance likes to play defense and is known more as a defensive defense. But that one kicks off of a skate by McIntosh, up and over, and then slamming the pads down was the netminder Fry. He slides over to the right now and gets set for a shot, but there will be none as the Knights get a clearance. Coming up the right wing side, here's Lett. Lett with a ton of speed. Does he see a man? It takes a odd carom off the netminder, Backhand effort over, and now ahead for Lee, and they'll get a clearance.
Great job out of Houston there, keeping her head down after the puck went off to make sure that she knew where that dropped in front of her and got a nice clean exit out of the zone. She knew where that puck was going to end up and was just waiting for it to hit the ice so she can get that out in front of her netminder and out of his way.
You know, one of the things we don't talk about enough in these broadcasts, we mentioned the guys with the speed, with the hands, with good cutback ability. But hockey IQ will bring you so far in this game. And in that situation, as that one's thrown towards the net just off the mark, sometimes it's also about, you see a loose puck. If you're not sure where it is, there's a good chance that your opponent doesn't know where it is either, as Ross Gillies' offering is blocked, paying the price, and then Harms gets his shin pads involved. Thrown over into the corner. But sometimes it's a matter of, look, if I can't get to that puck right away, all I got to do is make sure that you don't, and it's a matter of just tying a guy up and lifting the stick lift is one of the greatest things in adult hockey, because not only are you denying your opponent an opportunity, but sometimes people really get upset by it. It really kind of irks them, like, that should be against the rules, but it's not.
That was mine.
And it's holding if you take the stick and bring it down, but as long as you're going up, you're golden. And Fry throws that one right up the middle with a backhand. That's certainly something that I don't think they're going to suggest he do again, as we've got a collision there, and we do have a penalty coming up, as it sounded like a little bit of noise coming from the Bandits benches. I think they thought there wasn't going to be a call, but we will have a penalty here. And so with 3 minutes and 50 seconds to go in period number 2, it was interesting as I did my prep work for this. I noticed that neither one of these teams has a power play goal all season. I don't necessarily think that a penalty here is likely to be something that's going to lead to a power play goal. Doesn't mean that it's not going to affect the game, though, as a lot of times at this level, you'll see a quick shot on and Fry covers up. Because you have the rolling clock, it's just, the regular 2 minutes, it's easy to kill off a penalty. It's not always easy to steal that momentum back.
Yeah.
Draw again to the glove side of Fry. And Weimer will look to play it up. Not out quite yet. He'll have to turn back around. Firing a shot through traffic, and the netminder got a piece of it with his blocker as he fell to the ice. Chipped up by the Knights, and now they'll get to the promised land for them. That's back at the center ice, and then an inadvertent tangle up as Fortney lost an edge and upended Lopez. Good to see both of them pop up immediately and stay out there. Weimer feeds it over. They're talking it out, and now it is Fortney. Fortney backed up by Mavertis. Reynolds slams on the brakes, bounces off of the dasher board, but no worse for the wear. Lee has to quickly get it out of the zone, and because of that pressure, again, it's one of those where, that's not going to show up on anybody's stat sheet, but it was the pressure of Reynolds there that forced not the cleanest pass, and now all of a sudden the Bandits are going, hey, this is our power play. Why are we in our own end?
Absolutely, and I was a little bit worried about when Lopez went down like that. He came down awkwardly with the other player on top of his leg. I was worried about his knee or ankle there. Everything looks fine. He's out there right now skating around with his normal speed, but man, that looked awkward.
And sometimes those small little bumps and bruises in the heat of the moment are like, man, that's going to hurt in 2 days, but right now I can't feel it. That was more of one where you thought immediately that there might be something that where he wouldn't have even been able to stay out there. So great to see. We did have a stick go flying as two players inadvertently collided, and I think that was a good no call, as it looked like neither one was really more responsible than the other. Minute 13 left to go. A sharp angle shot gloved by Fry, and he'll hold on for the whistle.
Forbes was the one looking for the call there. He's the one who lost his stick, and even after the play, looks like he was looking towards stripes and wondering, hey, where's that call? My stick went 20 feet behind me. Looks like, nope, I thought the referee was going to stop over and say, hey, that was just an accident, but looks like that was already communicated.
So we'll have a face-off in the Knights' end, 47 seconds to go. in period number 2. Still drawn even at 1. Flipped over to the right side, and Hall, the goal scorer for the 4 seed. Spins around now on his backhand, brings it to his forehand, and has a man over to the left side. And we're going to have a penalty here as Jones reaches in, and it's Weimer who draws the foul in a good show of sportsmanship. They touch gloves, and it'll be Jones headed to the box. And with about 15 seconds left to go, I think if you're the Knights, you're hoping that they're not able to drop this puck. Why not just get 2 minutes of full the whole time? You get an opportunity for the coaching staff to talk through what they want to do on the power play. The puck is dropped with a third of a second, so in essence, they're going to have a full power play here and try to get that lead back. But what an exciting setup we have to this contest, as we're going to have a winner-take-all third period, or potentially have to go to extra time.
I mean, the way that the second period has played out, at least from up here, has been just a back and forth game. There have been a couple incidental contacts. Everybody's been really gracious about that, making sure the other party's okay. And that's always nice to see in adult hockey level. You don't need anything beyond, oh man, hey, you okay? That was an accident. Everybody looks great. I know Jones was already looking like he was reaching up to Weimer, making sure he was all right, went right to the box, no fuss, no muss. I'm not sure what these teams can do differently going into the third period. I think that they're both doing everything. They're playing their game, executing well, communicating well. There's a lot of talking out there, and I know you and I talked about this on Sunday. Everybody's communicating really well. I don't know that we're going to see a lot of a different third period than we did for the second period.
I don't think so either, and both of these teams have drawn up a game plan, and they're doing exactly what they want to do. When this game comes down to a victor and someone who walks off defeated, I think it's going to be about who caught that bounce at the right time. Going back to that penalty, I don't hate that at all if you're the Bandits, as far as that's a smart penalty. Weimer has a ton of speed. It looked like if he could break through, even though he's up against the boards, he was still just at the blue line. So he had plenty of time to come back and have that a good angle. And so that's one that I don't think anybody's getting on Jones for making. He's just hoping that when he gets out of the box, score's still 1-1, 18 minutes up on the clock, and we'll take the opening draw for the third period. Knights control it backwards, but then it's played deep, as jumping up into it was Lee Collins. Again, the Knights looking for their first power play goal of the season. Neither of these teams has struck with a man advantage. Interestingly enough, though, both of them have one shorthanded goal on the year. This is McIntosh waiting at neutral ice, and will flick it in. That will go off the stick of Vance, and Rasevsky did a nice job there putting the shin pads together, hoping that would take a carom off of him, but it gets out of the zone. McIntosh with 1:22 left to go on the man advantage. Knights will slide it over, chip it up, and Hall will actually wait as it's brought over by Weimer. Weimer cuts through, and a nice job there at the last minute by Vance to play that over. It settles down for Rasevsky, and she can't get the shot off. Holding on and firing one just wide was Ryan Lett. Sent up, and it takes a carom. Weimer initially went to cover up against the boards, and it kicked right off of the DMAHA dasher board and out to center mid-level, and that was a bad break for the Knights.
I think, but when you were talking about earlier, neither one of these teams have a power play goal, but they both have a shorthanded goal. We just saw a prime example as to why. The Knights were 100% committed to their attack and had almost completely relegated defense to something we don't have to worry about, and nearly paid for it there. Vance was all on top of Rachel there, trying to get that puck away, and if he hadn't lost his feet there, he absolutely would have come away with that. His inner feet, his stick was down. I think that's why we've seen shorthanded goals more often than power play goals.
Ross Gilly plays it all the way down. Fry will leave it there for Weimer. Weimer got it lost in his skates for a moment, then gets it out of the zone as those two do battle. That one's sent on and covered up by the netminder, and then he quickly plays it out into the corner. We skate 5-on-5, and again, I understand what Fry's trying to do is just quickly get it out of his glove, but there you want to put it a little bit closer. I mean, in essence, he threw it into the corner, which caused his teammate to have to go dig it out. That one hit off both the glove and the iron. as that one was nearly the first lead of the contest for the Bandits. Instead, we skate 1-1. Rasevsky stepping up. Vance centering pass, nobody home. Instead, it's Hall in black. He feeds it over. Great pass as he drew Jones in, waited for that perfect time, and then sprung it over to the left. Rasevsky has her pocket picked. Here comes Vance. Vance from an almost impossible angle. Rebound and back, and the netminder got there in time. Frustrated with himself was Lee Collins as he had a wide open net for a moment, but then it was actually McIntosh who was the first man out front, made that one a much more difficult shot, and then Fry able to slide over and squeeze that between the pillows.
Luke Vance was the one who made that whole play happen. He stole that puck, did a great job realizing if he kept it instead of passing it, he could get up the boards and threw it low and away on the pads, knowing it would get kicked out, seeing he had a teammate coming. No way he could have played that any better. Fantastic job out of Vance on that play.
Well, I think what happened is I think that the benches are mic'd up, and he heard me call him a defensive defenseman. He said, well, I'm going to show you my two-way game. But going back to a point earlier is that, again, he's not a player that's known for his offense, as he has just 1 goal, 3 assists on the season. But, again, a lot of that has to do with the fact that he's playing defense and playing a position that really he hadn't played much before this season. But he had a huge goal for us last summer when the Des Moines took a number of players from different teams and under some old yellow Vicious Squirrel jerseys ended up winning the Hot as Hell tournament. And Vance had a huge goal that was actually in the semifinals. It got the game tied up at 1.
Oh, wow.
And we ended up prevailing 2-1 and moving on and eventually coming away with a win. And, again, it was just persistence, and there a great shot just off the mark. And stepping up to keep that one in play, the Knights. And it's held there by Mavridis. Etnier battling, jousting, spun around, and now ahead. And it's on the backhand. I believe that was Fortner making the play. And indeed, now a pass over. They'll try to set this situation in a centering pass, but not looking up to see. There was nobody there, but a sea of black and purple. And with 12:53 to go, certainly not so early that the next goal is going to necessarily mean that team's going to win it, but it's going to get close to where, boy, at this point, a lead is going to be hard to erase. As this one kicks out, held in, they'll talk it out. Trying to get the shot through was Forbes, and coming over, that one was off the mark, but Fry didn't want to know where that rebound was going to end up. And I like the communication there by Forbes and Papien. I'm not sure if Papien let it go because he felt, A, you're in a better position to take the shot, or as more of a, hey, between the two of us, you've got a better chance of scoring from here. But it was that heads up, and also when you got two players kind of going in at the same time, it throws off the defense and the netminder because they're not sure which way that's coming from.
Exactly. And there was a great heads-up play out of everybody involved trying to keep there. And, Fry with a fantastic glove catch there. Just saying, hey, I don't want any of this business with this loose puck in my zone. We'll just freeze it and see if we can't get it out of here.
Fry catches a lazy pop-up, Willie Mays Hayes style, and holds on. We'll take a draw again to his left. And that'll be controlled by the defensive side. McIntosh battling. Lopez tries to set it up. Hoffman throws it towards the net, and that is cut off dead in its tracks. Fortney plays it out of the zone. It costs him his right glove, but he's able to pick that up and get equipped. Here's Hoffman with the freshly regloved Fortney blocking the shot. Hoffman, second effort. Weimer picks it off, and Lopez with a fantastic job. Weimer had offense in his eyes there as he was looking to jump up into the fray. Long pass, the intended target there was Reynolds. This is sent over, and a delayed offside will cause the Bandits to exit the zone and give the Knights some opportunity. With time is Fortney. Gets tangled up, and we've got a penalty here. Lopez, I believe, is going to get called for interference. No, they'll call it tripping. 10:45 to go in period number 3, and back-to-back power play opportunities for the Knights. Again, neither of these teams that take too many penalties, but boy, the last place you want to be right now is in that box because you're just going to feel that much more responsible if you have to come out early. He's hoping that he stays the whole 2 minutes.
Oh, especially with the amount of speed that he's got. It's a huge part of the Bandits team. They need his speed, and him sitting in the box could mean a big difference here, especially with, like we talked about earlier, the way that the power play tends to commit fully. So having him out there for a penalty kill would be the potential for a breakaway that they're not going to have now.
And Weimer, the speed that Knights counter with, throws that towards the cage. Stepping up is McIntosh. McIntosh fires towards the net. And a rebound for a moment. Reynolds can't get to it in time. This will come over, and Hoffman gets the clearance as he had Weimer, who was screaming in on him. Reichert, speaking of people screaming, immediately letting know McIntosh, hey, you've got all day there. And it allows him to get a nice breakout pass, but the Bandits will take over at their blue line, play it all the way down. Still a minute and 18 seconds left to go on the man advantage. They'll wrap it around the boards. Weimer kicks it off his skate, and immediately it's Les who communicates and tells him he's got it. They'll switch sides.
Great
over
pass
for Fortner, and that one took a kick off of the paddle. Dumped out front was a player. I think that was Reynolds who took the worst of it from Hoffman, and quite honestly, I think that might have been called were it not for the fact that the Bandits are already short-handed. You got to get a little bit more to get that penalty called. Let tangles up with a Bandit, and this is played down the length of the ice.
I think your assessment there, and that might have been called any other time, is absolutely right, but I don't know there could have been much else to happen there to get a call short of bloodshed. That was pretty darn close to as blatant as you get at this level.
And these teams are getting a little bit feisty with each other as Hall kicks it over to the left side. With it is Fortney. Slowed down by Hall. They'll try to get it right back to him. It rolls in towards the net, and then it's held onto by Harris. But that looked like almost a nothing play to disaster to salvation, all in the matter of about a second and a half.
All because the angle of that paddle was just a little bit too far back. It rolled right over the top of it and right in between his leg pads there. Great job at him making sure he's looking down at it and not where it might end up or where he's going to steer it next. Fantastic job at Harris realizing that kind of went south and a rebound from it.
So Lopez's penalty's expired, but he cannot step onto the ice until the puck is dropped. He is standing. We've got someone at the door, and he is back out onto the ice and immediately heads over for a change, despite the fact that the Bandits right now in their own zone and looking to defend. Backhanded effort, and now it's Hall. Tries to center it out front. Ross Gilly gets to it, keeps it, shields it away from Hall, sends one right up the middle, and that was nearly picked off. It'll be Lee as Mavridis thrown towards the net, and Fry gets low in a hurry and holds on. As we've seen the Bandits, they've got that capability. They're not just scoring in tight. They can score from just inside the blue line. They got a couple of guys who've got quite a bit of velocity with that quick little wrist shot. And Fry comes up huge in a moment where he absolutely has to.
Well, the Bandits are doing the right thing right now. They're throwing it at the net, hoping for a funky bounce, hoping for a rebound, because they know they need to get on the board. And throwing it at the net's your best chance for that. You don't have to be pretty about it. You don't have to have a tic-tac-toe play. Throw it at the net, hope for the rebound.
Are you telling me that when it comes to playoffs, that how pretty a goal is doesn't matter as long as it goes across the goal line?
I am never, me personally, the guy who scores nothing but garbage time goals, I am never going to tell you have to have a pretty goal.
Played all the way down, and they'll say no on the icing. And so we will hold on to possession. The Knights looking to send it around from the right side.
Oh, fantastic
Sent
shot.
out front! And where is it? It's underneath the equipment, the left pad, to be specific, of Fry. And the officials have had a couple that have been difficult to see. Credit them for being in position. Cody Verhule and Ryan Kelleher, the officials for this evening's contest.
Sorry to cut you off there, Eric. The Bandits are smelling blood in the water. They're seeing Fry have to make some fantastic saves, and they're just attacking, pouncing on every loose puck, throwing everything at the net because, sooner or later they have to get some puck luck, right?
You would think. 5:30 to go in period number 3, and that effort, I think, might have been an intentional miss, but I don't think he was trying to send it that far wide, looking for a tip out front. This will be Harms, and Harms with a nice breakout pass ahead for Weimer. Weimer will then chip and chase, and then use his body to keep it in the zone for a moment. It's over for McIntosh. McIntosh plays it ahead. Steinbron on the backhand. Great pass as he hits Let. Let races for the loose puck. It's around for Harms. Harms settles it down, sends it right back up, and now here's Weimer. Weimer has it corral, and then thought McIntosh was over to his right. Instead, it was Fortner, and he plays on the opposite side. McIntosh has that one squirt through. Fortner battling with Weimer, and Weimer makes sure that one does not head towards the net. Then a centering pass, and that's one of those plays where a good goaltender, not just able to make the plays with the glove and blocker and leg pads, but using that stick to make sure that centering pass never came through.
So one of the things I've noticed here, especially in this period where there's been a lot of passing from the Knights, you can see they've absolutely worked on catching a pass on the backhand, spinning around to corral it, and then taking it away on their forehand. They're executing some fantastic passing, and everybody's doing it exactly the same way. Catching it on their backhand, spinning to protect it, and then taking off with it. Just take a second and watch for it, Eric. It's actually really amazing. They're all doing it exactly the same, and they're all expecting it, which takes a lot of practice.
It certainly does, and again, that goes to talk about the coaching that they've received. Here's Weimer with plenty of time and 3:45 to go in regulation. We will have a 5-minute 4-on-4 overtime period should we not have a victor to this point. And that one was touched by the netminder, but the official's going to say it was just after it had gone over the line.
Even Fry gave it a shrug there. He's like, I don't know why you called it, but okay.
And I'm not sure if he's saying, I wish you hadn't called it, because quite honestly, that was not the Knights are definitely coming away with this puck. I would be happy if I was him to have it in the south end of the rink right now.
Absolutely.
3:10 to go. And we talk at this point. And so what they're going to do is bring it back down because the officials conferred and said that should not have been an icing. So it's almost like my bad on the official. We go to where the puck was, and so hence we have a draw to the left of the netminder. So now you definitely are not going, oh, you shouldn't have blown that whistle dead, because it just keeps it in your own zone. This is sent around for Reynolds. Reynolds brings it from the backhand to the forehand and gets it out of the zone. Nice job there, and as you pointed out, nice pickup as this is racing in. Lopez is going to get there first, and at the last minute, coming back to lift his stick was Mavridis. This will be held in, and Vance trying to keep it in on the backhand, and he was just at a bad spot there being a left-handed shot. Etnier steps up and advances the play. Mavridis feeds it over to the right side. Here's Reynolds. Reynolds, nice job there of using the skate to kick it ahead. He brings it right down Broadway, cuts around a couple of players, loose puck for a moment, and then Vance doing everything he can to try to get it out of the zone. Bandits. And quite honestly, here in the third period, I think part of it being the fact that they've had 2 penalties to kill off, but the Bandits are the team right now that look like, hey, let's just get out of this period, not the team that's, oh my goodness, we're not, it looks like a reverse of what people would have thought at this point. If it's a tie game, the Knights are going to go, hey, let's let the clock roll as much as we can. Let's try to just catch lightning in a bottle. Right now, it's the Bandits who are really going to the bench winded because of the pressure that they're being put on by the 4 seed.
I'd absolutely agree. And real quick here earlier with Mavridis knocking that puck out, or lifting that stick and dancing into the zone right now with it, he's absolutely outside the goaltender, the MVP of this game, because if he hadn't done that stick lift, that would have been in the back of the net. Fry wasn't over far enough. Fantastic job out of him being positional and keeping his head on a swivel.
Reynolds sets it up, and it got lost in the skates of Cornish. Still in the offensive zone. Now down to 65 seconds left in the third. Reynolds throws it up to the point, but the Bandits will escape out of the zone. Backhand effort and a nice job there. Had to get a lot on it. Realizing it was probably going to be Bandits' puck, you don't want to get it just over the blue line. That was almost into the other blue line. And a bank pass.
Almost beautifully executed. Reynolds had stopped moving his feet, but other than that, that was close.
Reynolds comes up with a steal, kicks it to himself, and then collides with one of his own players. Roskilly tries to furiously get it out of the zone, can't. Thrown towards the net, teeing that one up was Cornish. 22 seconds left to go. Chipped all the way down. We're going to have an icing call with 17.2 left on the clock. If there were a little bit less time, there'd probably be a decision. If you've got a face-off with a few seconds left, do you pull the netminder? But 17, way too much time to do that. So we will have a draw to the blocker side of Harris.
Especially with Vance out there. I mean, that guy's got all kinds of speed. You pull your goaltender and you're risking giving up a breakaway with nobody in between him and
I was thinking, you know what, Roskilly can score from his own defensive circles.
It's true.
Here's Fortney, takes a deflection. Hall trying to muscle that one through. 3 seconds. 2, the Bandits will get a clearance or just hold it in the zone. Either way, the horn sounds in 58 minutes. Not enough to decide a victor. Will go to overtime. But first, Red Dragon Herbs custom blended tea, loose leaf herbal teas from around the world. Popular flavor favorites include anti-inflammatory, Turkish apple, and the ever popular, I've heard it both ways, chai, however you like. Red Dragon Herbs tea is now being served at 1882 Coffee House in Bondurant. You can also order online at reddragonherbs.net. A custom tea blend is a great gift idea for people that like to receive gifts.
I like gifts. Do you like gifts?
I do.
I think that we would be fantastic for this Red Dragon Herbs.
I can think of a gift that Kurt DeSelles gave you in a championship game, and you loved that gift.
I
didn't
did.
you?
I did. Those are my favorite gifts, where it makes me look like I'm doing a thing that I'm totally not doing.
Well, you did it, but it just looked like you were going to do it the second time.
Yeah.
And it turned out the first was enough. We digress. My name is Eric Zamora. This is Tyler Shelton. So glad you could join us for. I love the fact that now we're getting paid overtime for this. You know what I mean? Like this
time
is
and a half is the best way to go.
Yeah, this is definitely and if we don't, this is definitely a workman's comp thing. JT Nutt running the camera brilliantly for us. Brett DeBryan, our engineer and producer, and we have a fourth period, 5 minutes up on the clock. I don't think I need to say this, but this is not the old school soccer rules where somebody scores and then you get an opportunity to try to equalize it. No, this is next goal. Your team advances, next goal surrendered, and it was a fun season. 4-on-4 we skate. Knights in black. Silver numerals, purple trim, going from right to left. They're headed southbound. It's the Bandits in beige, green numerals, orange trim, going from left to right. Down in a abbreviated butterfly was Harris as he was looking to defend. Here comes Hoffman. Hoffman is actually captaining one of the summer novice teams this year along with Zach Bricchetto. Here comes Lopez. Gets around, but again, his speed almost works against him, and that was a loose puck that just got outside of the reach of the shot. Hoffman tees it up.
Game
it's
over.
Fired and it's in! Hoffman sets it up, and Hunter Lee scores his 6th goal of the season, and the Bandits, just 38 seconds into overtime, come away with it, and the Knights stunned as they remain on the bench and seated for a moment. Now they go out to congratulate and console their netminder, top to bottom, both teams. Where do you start as far as what you're complimenting them on? And there's about 1 or 2 things that you could talk about they could have improved upon, but these two teams poured their heart out onto the ice And unfortunately, there's only room for one of them to advance.
Absolutely. And I mean, I was concerned about the first opportunity there, and the Bandits just managed to capitalize on the second one with a shot from the point, absolutely screened, kept it low to the ice, so it's really hard to tell where it was. I mean, that's for a goaltender, that's going to be hard to see. You can't tell where it's coming from. There's people in front of you. You don't know if it's going to come off a stick or a skate. I mean, Fry was standing huge all game long. Harris standing tall all game long. It ended up coming down to a goalie battle. That's all it was.
And Fry, for his credit, was victimized twice in the game. Both times, the shot stayed on the ice and kissed off the post. I mean, he literally said, I'll give you a spot that's the size of the puck, and Roskilly and then Lee hit it. So the Bandits advance to the championship game. That will be a week from this Sunday, June 10th, back here at Buccaneer Arena, and it will be a 2 o'clock puck drop. We'll see if they take on the Wild Goose or the Blues, as their opponent will be determined by tomorrow night's contest. Before we go, want to once again thank our primary sponsor, the Keg Stand, in their third year as the primary sponsor. Look, by now, if you don't know where the Keg Stand is, I don't know that this is going to help you, but legally, I have to say it. 3530 Westtown Parkway in West Des Moines. Over 90 beers on tap, new tappings every week, and a complete list of the beers they feature on a beer menu and beer board. Full menu of some of the best food in town, food specials every weekday, open till 2 a.m. every day. A great place to hang out with friends, catch the big game or one on one of their 15 big screen TVs. It's the official sponsor of the CIDL. It's also the home of the much enjoyed D-League Radio Nights. It's the official home of the new CIDL, and as always, the home of D-League Radio. That's the Keg Stand.
Second sponsor here for D-League Radio is So Cherry. So Cherry Screen Printing and Sewing. It's your short-run garment decorating specialist. Got custom jerseys and uniforms for any sport. They have original art screen printing for any occasion. Company functions, school outings, family fun events, and really anything you can think of. They don't have any minimum order whatsoever. You can order 1 or 50. A multitude of garment decorating options, whether it's screen printing, embroidery, etc., and have options to fit any budget. They're the official outfitter of the CIDL. Make sure you find them on Facebook at facebook.com/SoCherry and at SoCherry.com.
So a quick recap. We had the Knights taking the lead back in period number 1, and it came moments into the game. We're going to call that 2:48 time of the goal. Bradley Hall, his first of the year, from Chad Hepperly and Rachel Rasevsky. Sean Roskilly got things knotted up at 15:23 of the first period. From Lee Collins and Dan Jones, neither team would come up with a goal again in regulation, and it didn't take long. Just 32 seconds into the overtime period, Lee from Lopez and Dan Jones and the Bandits squeak away with a victory there. Record improves to 15-4-3, and the Knights in heartbreaking fashion fall to 1-18-3. When all is said and done, if you take a look at the record of the Knights, I don't think people are going to understand how much the team bonded over the season, how much they improved over the season, and when you get yourself in a league where there's only 4 teams, so you started the semifinals, that doesn't take away from the fact that they took the overtime opening faceoff, won it, brought it down into the offensive territory, and they're a bouncing puck away from moving on to the championship game.
Absolutely. I think your comment on how much everybody on both sides of the red line tonight has improved over the course of the season is astounding. I've had occasion to play with a couple of them through tournaments or other leagues, and I've watched them a lot while calling games here. And I mean, the novice level is for the development, and they've done a fantastic job growing as players and growing as a team. And I think that's an important note that you had there.
Harris is credited in the game with 7 saves. I was a little bit surprised that they didn't give the Knights more than into double digits on shots on goal. They certainly had a lot of opportunities, but looking back at it, there were quite a number of times where just missing wide, and obviously a shot off the mark, even a shot off the pipe, doesn't go down as a shot on goal. Fry registers 15 saves on 17 shots on goal, and if this is the warm-up for the semifinals in CIDL, both in novice and the intermediate division, sign me up, because these teams have set the bar for what hockey's going to be like tomorrow, and then going into Championship Sunday a week and a half from now.
Yeah, couldn't agree more. They're super excited for it. Can't wait to watch it.
All right, we're going to go ahead and put a bow on this one again. I'm Eric Zamora. This is Tyler Shelton, who is doing an adequate job of
thank you.
commentary.
I appreciate that. I appreciate
from
that.
me.
That's high praise.
That is.
High praise.
Brett DeBryan, making sure that we kept things on time, on schedule, and kept the FCC off our back. And JT Nutt running the camera. Again, we thank you for tuning in, and we'll catch you the next time. A final in overtime of the CIDL semifinals. It was Bandits 2, Knights 1. Thanks for tuning in to D-League Hockey.